Welcome to the Rotowire Fantasy Baseball podcast sponsored by Bet. I'm Clink here with Todd Zola of Rotowire.com and Masters Ball. Todd, good to be back with you this week. I want to thank Jason Collette for stepping in last week. Saw a little bit of that. Looks like Jason's rocking the standing desk nowadays, so that's good. But appreciated him stepping in. And how have you been since we last talked?
Doing well. You heard the music to begin the pod, which means that Clay's running it, not me, because I don't know how to do that stuff. Yeah, we're lucky we got. Yeah, last week was kind of fun because a couple of guys sitting around that had nothing to do. So we ran a little long last week, folks. Clay and I'll get you out of here within the standard hour. But it was fun. It was good to talk to Jason. He's a frequent guest in a lot of our audio, and we hadn't talked to him for a little while. He's starting up a new job, or this is the first week of his new job, so we got him at the right time.
Oh, great! That's awesome.
His last day before starting a new job. Hard to believe he has time to do a real job with all he does in the business. So anyway,
fantasy, yeah, that's true. That's wild. Yeah, Jason, every Saturday he'd help us out when we were on XM doing baseball. They've made the switch to football now, but Jason was a big help every single Saturday, carving out time for us.
But we still get to do the network, though, right?
Yeah, you and I back on MLB Network Radio. I want to thank Jeff Erickson there, too, for stepping in last week. Took a little mini vacation, drove up to Minneapolis, saw a good buddy of mine.
Well, we're not so sure. We don't believe in coincidences. How come the day you decided to go away, Wander Franco was promoted to the majors?
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
What you had a picture? Did you have what did you? I mean, you must have known something. And then I think like a couple hours later, TJ Antone was taken off the IL.
Yeah, that was.
So you were busy. You were busy.
Antone back on the IL now. Unfortunately, and Franco kind of your favorite term, scuffling. No, he's kind of struggling since that hot start. And yes, I mean, you mentioned Antone. That kind of segues into the top stake league pickup of the week. Amir Garrett, I couldn't pull myself to do it, just given how bad he's been. He's been a little better lately, but he was the top pickup in the stake league at $9. He's got 5 saves now. Of course, Sims on the IL with Antone. But I guess this just speaks to the need for saves and the lack of a lot of turnover in the majors right now. I
grabbed him over the weekend in a couple of NFBC leagues. Now, I may have missed it if it was a doubleheader. I don't think so. Didn't he come in like in the 6th inning, Garrett, yesterday or the day before?
I think so, yeah.
So much for that.
Plays the matchups like crazy. And I mean, Garrett's just been brutal most of the year, so home runs galore. And
his last 2 are a third of an inning and 2/3 of an inning on the 29th and the 1st. So since I acquired him, he pitched a total of 1 inning, 2 Ks, a walk, and no saves. So good for you, Zola. It's a microcosm of my season.
Yeah, that's how it goes, man. It's tough finding trolling for saves right now. Cole Sulser was the number 2 pickup. He got a save last night. It was actually the same price as Garrett, $9. I believe Sulser got a save last night. Wednesday, maybe.
Baltimore owns the Astros.
That's so weird.
Isn't it? You know how they do in football, it sometimes college football too, where they do that transitive property thing. So-and-so beat so-and-so beat so-and-so beat so-and-so. So therefore so-and-so is the best team in the league, even though they have the worst record. You could do that in baseball and use Baltimore beating Houston, and Houston beating the Red Sox, and the Red Sox beating the Yankees, and the Yankees beating whoever they beat. It's wild how, was it 2 weeks ago, Boston couldn't do anything against Houston. Houston looked fantastic. Fast forward 2 weeks, and they get swept by the Orioles of all teams. Amazing. It's baseball.
That's baseball. That's the beauty of it. You just never know what's going to happen. Behind those 2 closers, or at least half closers maybe, Luis Patino, James grabbed him for Tampa Bay. James, I didn't dive into the pickups last week. I just kind of set my lineup.
Yeah.
But apparently James stashed Shane Baz. So he's going heavy on the Tampa Bay young arms there.
There was a, I don't know if it was a rumor, not so much a rumor, but Baz there was a couple of openings there. And I think he was kind of an early stash. And Baz, maybe he was accelerated to the next level. There was some news with Shane Baz in there, and he kind of even in a couple of other places, I saw some. So he dazzled in his third AAA start. So it's not so much he got accelerated because he got accelerated. He's been 3 games. He's just crushing it in AAA. Is he 22? But this is the Rays, right? I mean, all due respect to James, knows what he's doing, but it's still the Rays. So even if he comes up, is it, 3 innings? Is it, what's he going to do?
Yeah, when they brought up the other Shane McClanahan, he was kind of on a short hook early on. He was 4, maybe 5 early. Eventually got to 5, but yeah, you just don't know. And I guess he just needed some healthy arms. We'll see. But Baz is exciting.
You want that. And, I'm sure people remember at this point. But if they don't, where did he come from or what trade? This was the Chris Archer deal. This is the third piece with Glasnow and Meadows. And then to say he turns out to be the best is a little bit of a hyperbole. But, he's darn good.
Yeah, the trade just looks worse and worse, especially if Baz ends up being a stud.
And if Archer comes back and helps the Rays this year.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's with the Rays again. That's just a brutal trade. Kyle Muller was picked up. He got his first big league win last weekend. Beat the Reddies, struck out 9.
Don't hate it. He looks good.
$6 pickup. I don't hate it.
He looks all right. Did all right in the minor leagues. All right, you don't like the 151 whip. Gave up a lot of hits, but doesn't give up. Well, I guess he was giving up homers at AAA. Didn't give him up at AA. I do like this arm. Muller wasn't as high ranked as some of the other. I mean, Atlanta's just they've run through 10 pitchers in the last 3 years, hoping that 1 or 2 of them stick, and they have. Unfortunately, one of them with Soroka is going to be even longer before he gets back. Knock on wood that he does. But Muller is somebody I think I don't remember he has 2 starts, but he's someone I'm interested in picking up.
Yeah, same. I will look maybe to add him. Guillermo Heredia was added. Ryan O'Hearn, and then Eric Lauer. He's beaten it's the Rockies past couple games, but one of those was at Coors, and the other one, shut out on only 2 hits over 6 innings. So. Eric Lauer is getting some love on Twitter, I've seen, and there's only a $2 ad here, which with a ton of Brewers fans in this league, I'm a little surprised by. A little surprised he didn't go for more, but I'll probably have him on a waterfall behind Muller this week.
Yeah, well, the Brew, as you know, you're not you're in the same city. You're not necessarily a fan, but I'm sure you feel people talking about it. The Brewers are one of those roles where everything's going right.
Yeah.
It's just everything seems to be falling into place. Good for them, I guess. I'm a fan of some of their players. I've got some friends that are fans, so I do kind of follow the Brewers. Everybody knows I'm a Colton Wong stan, and I just he's hurt again, unfortunately. But
it sounds like maybe an IL situation again.
Another, and I tweeted out this week. I don't think anybody's going to face this Brewers club in the playoffs.
Yeah, even Keston Hiura's hitting.
Yeah. You got 3 guys at the front of the rotation that can match up against anybody with Woodruff, Peralta, and Burns. Burns is a high spin guy. He certainly didn't look like he was hurting last night. Well, having said that, he did leave the game with a sore knee, but it was like after 7 or 8 innings. That doesn't lessen the fact that his knee was hurt, but he did get deep into the game. But yeah, that's the team that I don't think anybody's going to want to mess with. And they could go out and get another bat too. And we'll see what they do. The rumors of Trevor Story, they could go out and get another bat. But the point, Willie Adames and Luis Urias have really crushed it from the left side since that trade.
Yeah, not a lot else exciting here on the waiver wire from last night. David Dahl, Jay Happ, Lamont Wade was picked up, Mike Fultonevich, Paulo Espino, even some names that I don't even know. These guys are digging deep here trying to
any Jared Olivo?
Max Kranick?
Yeah, Pittsburgh pitcher, I believe. Yeah. Any Jared Oliva?
No, not picked up. Maybe he's still rostered though. Let me see. Is he crushing it?
No, well, he's not. He was called up. He's my NL version of Edward Olivares, who I picked up all over the place in the spring for cheap speed. Now Oliva got hurt. He may have had a chance to actually play for Pittsburgh, who was cycling through, quad A center fielders until they settled on Brian Reynolds. But Oliva is he's probably not going to play much, but he was called up finally. So he's somebody in deeper leagues to speculate on for speed. Not mixed though. He's not a mixed league. Not right now, anyway.
The other guy here, Gavin Sheets. I guess the White Sox have 5 outfielders on the IL, so
yeah,
maybe Gavin Sheets plays a little bit. He had a home run in Wednesday's win, so
yep,
already doing a little something. Jose Suarez, Logan Webbs, Anderson Simmons, Josh.
Suarez is interesting.
Yeah, Jose Suarez, I could see that. I still am holding out for Patrick Sandoval to be kind of like a needle mover for me in a few leagues, but
could happen.
Yeah, he's just been okay.
The opening's there. Do we sink to that level and make the Dylan Bundy jokes, or we just leave it alone?
I actually just benched him in the stake league, Dylan Bundy, because he's got Boston next, I think. And
Bundy's in relief now.
Oh, is he? I didn't even.
Oh,
I've been out of the loop.
So you're not even aware what I'm referring to.
No, what are you?
Maybe you are. Right on middle of the game, he kind of turned around.
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah. He blew the lead, as it were.
Yeah, I see in the recap, Bundy vomited on the mound. I did actually see the clip.
Yeah, they've been regurgitating the same jokes. It's it just makes me want to throw up.
That's brutal. Anything else on your mind before we get into the 2-star pitchers?
Edward Olivares is back.
Is he? So Oliva and Olivares.
Yeah. Who got hurt? Why don't I remember this? Dominguez. They got rid of Dominguez, which means Hunter Dozier could play more third base, which may open up some outfield run for Olivares. We'll find. We'll see. There was somebody that got hurt. I'll remember the name, but we go into the 2-star pitching, and it'll come to me. It's not a big deal.
Nice. Yeah, I'm down to get into it. July 5th already. The break is looming. Of course, we have to throw out the usual caveat that these are subject to change. Are you going to say something?
We're at the halfway pole.
Yeah, that's right. Jeez,
the guy that got hurt. Yeah, Emmanuel Rivera is who's playing third base, who went on the IL. So that could clear more space for Hunter Dozier, who was playing the outfield. So until Benintendi's ready to come back, Edward Olivares could get a little run. This is not an old podcast. It's a new one. Edward Olivares could get a little bit of playing time.
I know you've been holding out hope, but really the minor league numbers are exciting, and I'm with you.
You know what? I've trashed him in a lot of places just because I couldn't wait anymore.
Couldn't afford to stash him any longer.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Well, this should we'll be doing our usual thing here. And I know you I track these in my own Google Doc, but you set up a publicly available Google Sheet, did you not? For these 2-star grades?
Yeah.
Nice. That's nice of you. I know people were asking about having them available. I used to put them in the show notes, but now the new hosting site doesn't have that kind of big space for them. So I wanted to find a solution, but I thank you for finding that solution for us, Todd.
If you want to use it, if you want to dump them in, we'll tag it along when we send out the show. We'll tag it along, and after a while, we'll probably keep the URL the same, so you guys don't have to look it up each time. It'll be the same.
Absolutely. Well, before we get to the 2-star pitcher grades, let's throw to a quick word from our sponsors. We're now back on the Rotowire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Clay Link here with Todd Zola. This podcast is sponsored by WinBet. We'll be going through grading all of next week's 2-star pitchers on a 0 to 5 scale. These are subject to change. I just wanted to mention that again. And check out Todd's weekly pitcher rankings closer to lineup lock for maybe a better idea where guys stand in his opinion. And, we can get right into this. I'm going to maybe have to step away just for a second to plug in my laptop here. But Riley Smith, Todd, what can you tell us about him versus Colorado at the Dodgers? Any interest whatsoever?
No. Don't confuse him with Caleb Smith, who will have marginal interest in. One's a decent righty, and the other. I'm sorry, one Caleb's no 2 starts. Let's just jump to the point. Zola, no interest. Colorado and Dodgers not interested.
So Max Fried is at Pitt at Miami. If you don't mind, Todd, I'm going to throw to you and then step away for 2 minutes as I plug my laptop in. Sorry to do this to you.
It's all good. Max Fried. Max Fried, I have him in the borderline 1 range, primarily because he's got at Pittsburgh and at Miami. You lose a little bit of points when you're on the road. Just there's inherently better skills at home. And actually, I need to check on that because that was lessening with umpiring being more even. I have to check to see if that's or how much of the home field advantage one still gets. But at Pittsburgh and at Miami, 2 incredibly weak offenses and 2 very, very good pitchers park. So Fried is he's taken, but you're going to get a couple good starts from Fried.
Nice. Appreciate that, Todd. I didn't want to just cut out on you and just leave you.
Well, Liz almost did that on the radio one time when he was getting his puppy delivered from the dog watcher. We found out Liz has a soft spot. It's
he does.
Yeah, we found that out. But yeah, it reminded me of what Hoosiers when the coach got thrown out and left the assistant there to let Dennis Hopper to do the job. That's what Clay just did for me.
Absolutely. So Fried, I probably have 5.
Oh yeah. I said 1, but I meant 5. I was backwards in my head. It's a 5.
Yeah, those matchups, they don't really get any better. Harvey, I don't see any way you could start him anywhere. Matt Harvey, probably 0.
I don't know why Baltimore's continuing to start him, but they are. Yeah.
Just to chew up innings, I guess. But yeah. To have versus Toronto versus White Sox, that could be pretty ugly.
Yeah.
Martin Perez, what do you think of him lately? He's got at the Angels versus Philadelphia, 4.04 ERA. How's he looked lately?
He just throws strikes, and sometimes they hit the ball, and sometimes they don't. As opposed to, we can go on forever about Richards and Pivetta with narratives, especially Richards. But I don't know if you caught that if you were away. He literally invented 2 pitches in the middle of a game.
How?
He's not spinning the ball. He's come out and said he's been using the suntan lotion and the rosin for the past 9 years, and he couldn't do that. He started throwing a 70-mile-an-hour curveball and a changeup that was being registered as a 2-seamer. Then I've never seen this. The middle of the game, they changed all their designations.
Oh, weird.
It was kind of because I was tracking it, and he was anyway. We're talking about Perez. I'm giving him a 1. Boston has a chance to win both games, so just because of that, I know you don't chase wins unless you're in a head-to-head league and you need to chase wins or towards the end of the season. But at LA versus Philly, they're both winnable games. Well, so I'm going to give him a 1, but I'm not expecting a ton.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised you didn't go a little higher. Just given he's got a respectable ERA and
the underlying metrics are. Yeah, I may be shortchanging with innings, and if I give him a few more innings, maybe he goes up. But he's ranked in the 90 to 100 range right now. So
I got you. I got him as a 2, but I got you down as a 1.
It could come out as a 2 when I actually when I rerun the rankings, but that's where he is. He's not an automatic start, but you don't just dismiss it either.
Yeah, I may reluctantly kind of have to begrudgingly, I guess, add him to a few lists this weekend. Zach Davies and Jake Arrieta. Davies has been chipping away at that ERA. Arrieta's seems like a mess. All right.
Yeah, I thought I had the phone ringing in the other room, so I thought I would avoid this sort of thing. But I hit the wrong button. I had to check who it was, make sure it wasn't my landlord. Hit the wrong button, and you're hearing the spam. All right, we were talking about Davies.
Mm-hmm. I'll probably give him myself versus Philly versus St. Louis. I think I'm going to give him a 3. as kind of like setting him as like the baseline, like above or below Zach Davies this next week?
I'm going to go. I think he's below average. I'm going to go with a 2. I know they're both at home, but I'm going to go. I actually have him ranked in the 1 range, but I'm going to give him a 2. Marietta, I can't think of a reason why I'd start him unless I was in one of those hacking mass leagues where you try to get the worst scores.
Yeah, isn't there a Tout Wars league, or there used to be one that was like that? Like,
it used to be Baseball Prospectus hacking mass. Used to run it. Whether they still do it or not, I don't know. Maybe Tout did it one year as for fun. I don't recall, but they have the Tout Wars, which is
Tout Wars. That's what I was thinking.
But that's not you try to draft the best team by shadow drafting what Tout Wars did. But anyway.
I got you. Vladimir Gutierrez of the Reds, he kind of finally had that home run game that I was expecting. Because the first game I saw him pitch, it was in Wrigley, and he was just lucky to get out of there with a decent line because the ball was blowing in like crazy. Probably, got away with 2, maybe 3 homers that he should have given up that just stayed in the park. But then the other day he did give up 3, so he's given up 5 homers his last 2 outings. It's fallen apart pretty quickly for Vladimir Gutierrez, and I think I may actually put him as like maybe a 1, maybe you just cut him. I think I'll go 1, but it's iffy.
Yeah, I get him in the 0 range. I live at 134. I definitely have him 0. I mean, Milwaukee's been on fire.
Yeah.
The Royals, they don't hit a lot of homers, but on the road, I'm not. Both of them. Well, the first one, Kansas City, gets the DH, which means Soler, Santana, something like that. But yeah, I'm not. The shine is worn off if it ever was there in the first place.
My guy Luis Castillo was humming along. I think didn't he have a no through 4, and then there was that delay, and then he gave up 3 runs when he came back. But he's been pitching a hell of a lot better lately.
I had his stats called. Yes, he's been pitching. Yes, because he was pitching so poorly to begin with. But the only thing I wanted to point out, everybody, was he's still not the old Luis Castillo. He's not striking out a batter an inning in this streak. He's walking 4 per 9 in this streak. He's not giving up homers, but that's what that's one of the things Castillo does. So he hasn't given up more than 3 runs in the past 7 starts. 2.30 ERA, 1.09 WHIP. That's great. I know we like strike percent, but I'll go K per 9 just for now. 8.6 K9. Yeah, it's good, but it's not second round Louis Castillo. That's all I'm trying to say is don't say he's back. He's much better.
Yeah, the 1 home run allowed in that stretch that you're referring to, his last 43 innings, that's really encouraging to see. But yeah, the walks are still up there. Changeup hasn't really fully recaptured its dominance, but I still think I imagine you were on the site doing the box score click 2 dates, see what he's doing over time, which is a great feature of Rotowire.
Oh, I love it. I learned it by accident. The thing, he's been consistent, right? The last 5 starts, 7, 6 strikeouts. I mean, it's very. I mean, if we weren't comparing him to the second round Louis Castillo, we'd be all we'd be loving this guy. But that's all I'm trying to say is we're not getting the 10-11 strikeout domination that we would see at times in previous seasons.
So it sounds like you're not going to put him in that 5 range, but a 4 for you?
I'm going with a 4. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah,
exactly.
Me too. At Kansas City, at Milwaukee, I'll go 4 as well. Now, the Cleveland Spiders, so maybe they'll be in time. Who knows what they'll be. The Cleveland Ball Club. Cal Quantrill, Logan Allen, they've been really hurt by injuries, of course, and in that rotation. And frankly, I mean, I kind of had some hopes for Quantrill, and I think he's pitching better, but he had a no decisions last time out, only 3 1/3, and just probably not stretched out enough. Although he did go 5 a couple weeks ago. He has to be pretty darn efficient to get to 5.
I know people on the YouTube are seeing my, sojourn look. Yeah, I replaced Matt Shoemaker with Carl Quantrill, and it hasn't worked out.
Sorry.
Oh man,
I like Quantrill a lot coming into the season.
Yeah, I've got him in the 0 range. I could be talked into a 1, but that's as high as I'll go with Quantrill. I think there's still hope for down the line. At Tampa versus KC are a couple of good matchups. Well, not fantastic, but they're not terrible matchups. And the other one was the other Cleveland starter was who?
Logan Allen.
No, yeah, right.
5.38 ERA. It's been rough for him.
Another one where a small amount of pedigree, but right. I mean, they're both zeros, and actually, these are the kind of guys. These are the ones that are these are bench and AL only type of double, which is hardly ever do, right? But these are sit in AL only because they could tank ERA, and you may not be able to get out of the hole.
I'm with you on Allen, but I think Quantrill I may start in AL only, and I think I have him in a few draft and holds where I just may have to, out of desperation, just without lack of any other healthy arms, have to start him. So I'm going to give Quantrill 1, Allen 0.
Okay.
But I got you down on Quantrill a 0. John Gray at Arizona at San Diego. Arizona is just so bad. John Gray on the road, it's kind of tempting.
I'm laughing because he's crushing it at home.
Oh, is he?
Well, he was early. You know what? He might not be doing it as well. Early in the season, he was crushing it at home. No, I like these matchups. I got him in the 3 high, almost a 4, but it's in the 3 range. I'll give him a 3, but it's close to a 4.
Yeah, I think that's a 3 for me as well. He did have one little hiccup at home against Oakland, but yeah, he's otherwise been pretty darn good at home.
Yeah.
He had an 8, not an 8 inning, but a 5 inning, 10K shutout at Milwaukee on June 25th. So John Gray's been pitching pretty well, and I think I'll give him a 3 and maybe a top priority for this week if he's out there. And then the other Rockies pitcher, let me see who that was, if there was a second one. Sorry, I tabbed away. Nope, just John Gray. Then for the White Sox, Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease scares me still, given the command, but at Minnesota, at Baltimore, pretty nice. I think I'm going to probably give him a 3 as well. Put him on that Davies, John Gray level.
I give him a 3, and you kind of said it. He's inconsistent. I mean, you talk about, any guy can do this. He's just as easy to go 7 innings with 7 strikeouts as he is to go 7 outs and 7 runs. I think at this point, it teeters more towards the former than the latter, but he's still inconsistent.
That's true. Yeah, by the way, next week we'll have to figure out something to do because there's obviously the break the following week. So there won't be any 2-star pitchers for anybody. But
we can sing and dance. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
For the Detroit Tigers, Jose Urena, Willie Peralta. I didn't really realize Willie was still hanging around as a starter.
Well, he has no idea you're still doing this podcast.
I've heard that he's kind of out of the mix. I guess he's been down at Louisville. Has he even? Oh yeah, he's pitched a little bit. He actually went 5 innings scoreless. At least
I expected him to be more of a opener, and he went 5 innings. Yeah, so
I'm going to probably, even though at Texas is the first one, then at Minnesota, I think I got to go 0s for both these guys. Even though I could maybe see picking up Peralta if you're absolutely desperate.
Nah, I can't. No, okay. I'm going 0s on both.
Okay, I got you down. Next up, 2-star pitchers. Let's see here. Luis Garcia of Houston. I think I agree with you that Houston is the best team in baseball, and Luis has been fantastic filling in that rotation. Did have a little bit of a hiccup recently.
Well, Baltimore owns them.
Yeah, home against Baltimore. That's just weird. But I think he's probably a 4.
Yeah, I am a high 4, but yeah, I am in a high 4. Absolutely. And it's probably just because.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, he's not a 6 1/3 type of guy. If he was, he may be a 5. but he's still, 5, and when you get in trouble, he's out of there. But anyway, you were saying?
Well, I was going to say the second start of the week for Garcia is versus New York Yankees. I'm wondering, just given where that team is, when you see that NYY on the schedule, does that strike any fear in you anymore? Because they're just barely above 500. They're just not. And I think I saw their playoff odds are now down to like under 5% on Baseball Reference.
You still have to be wary, but you're not avoiding it. And even at home, it's something that you look at the names, and there's, because I did one of the great things about doing playing time updates this week is we're halfway through the season, so you can eyeball. It's easy to all right, so Stanton's had 300 at bats. Did he get? It's like halfway. It's easy to try to gauge if you're accurate or not. And they're looking at the judges and the guys that get hurt. They've been playing lately, and they're just not judges producing, but the team just isn't. But you're still scared, right? I mean, because they can go nuts. They're just not doing it, and that's to be honest, that was what Milwaukee was doing for a while. And now they're catching, now they're catching up. The Yankees are going to make somebody pay. One of these weeks, we're going to say, I'm not scared of the Yankees. And the next Friday, we're going to go, I don't want to start this guy against the Yankees.
Exactly. I was thinking that. I was just thinking, the Yankees, like you said, just not a matchup I'm going to be avoiding for the time being. But then, watch them go out and be the hottest team in baseball this next week.
They very well could.
But DJ LeMahieu it seems like he's kind of the engine. I said that weird, but engine that keeps things running, and he just hasn't been hitting like he usually does.
Yeah, right. Taking advantage of Yankee Stadium with going the opposite way. I'm not a Gleyber Torres fan. As far as not so much baseball, I think he's been one of the huge beneficiaries of the 2019 jumpy ball, and he hasn't been able to reach anywhere close to that level. Gary Sanchez is turning it back on again. It's kind of it's nice to see, just because he wasn't that bad. He couldn't have been that bad, but they just traded, the Yankees did, for Tim LeCastro.
Yeah, I saw that. A little speed in the outfield.
Yeah, we'll see how much he plays. Well, I think the Yankees were they noticed they were deficient on hit by pitches. So they went out and got LeCastro. Yeah,
LeCastro's a magnet for those. It's pretty weird. I know Hal Steinbrenner has been, talking about how he's disappointed, and Aaron Boone seems to be maybe on thin ice. And I really wish I'd listened to you on Gleyber, because you were sounding the alarms, and I didn't listen.
If you listen to everybody I talk about, you still wouldn't be doing well. So, but the pitching too. The Yankees pitching isn't quite where, Luis Severino could give him a little bit of a shot in the arm coming up, but some of they're not using David Garcia. They're just a step down, and it's a year where, Boston's doing better, Tampa's doing decent things, but no one's running away. All Red Sox now are starting, but they're going to get cold again, because that's what baseball is, and they just happen to run into Kansas City this week and help them out. Actually, Sox Yankees this weekend. So if weather permitting, he looks outside while it's raining and see what happens there.
I'm looking right now at a picture of Cody Bellinger at the White House. That guy is just 80 grade cool factor right now. But next up, two-star pitchers. We'll continue on. Mike Minor, Chris Bubich. I was heavily invested in this Royals rotation, but in the totally wrong guys. Singer and Bubich and Keller. It's been pretty ugly for those guys. But Minor, I could definitely see rolling him out versus Cincinnati at Cleveland. Pretty nice. Bubich, I got to just take off my list for now. I'm going to have him a 0, but Minor, I think I might give a 3.
I have Minor in the 3 range. I too am interested in a lot of the Royals, including Minor, but Brad Keller, man. And I have to think, it's a little early to do self-evaluation for next year, blah, 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 blah. I always have pitchers that I like. Brad Keller was among them. So part of me says, all right, you can like him, but there's a chance he's not very good. Don't draft him, but you don't have to start him the first couple of weeks. See what happens. But then the other part of me says, well, what if he is good? You miss those good starts. So it's something I have to think about because that's how I draft. I don't draft top pitchers. I try to make it up at the end. So now I just have to decide whether it's smart to be conservative for a few weeks or you trust him, use him. But that's something to talk about in the offseason.
I have to make a tough call on Brady Singer, probably. I probably should have dropped him a while ago, but I've just been stubbornly holding him on some benches, and I'm not going to start him at home against the Reds. I may have to just finally move on. Nobody for the Angels, although I do want to just mention Jose Suarez again because probably not a matchup you want to deploy him in there versus Boston, but he's been pitching well and picked up in the stake league, maybe worth adding in your league. For the Dodgers, Walker Buehler, Tony Gonsolin. I imagine these guys both are fives, right?
Yeah, and we'll without dancing around the topic, let's just say the Dodgers rotation is subject to change more so than others.
Very much so, yeah.
Having said that, Buehler and the kind of I'm not so sure I'm going 5 with Gonsolin. Well, I'm not going 5 with Gonsolin just because I can't put him in for 6 or 7 innings and write it down and walk away. Buehler, I'm impressed because he doesn't seem to be all that much affected by the umpire checking and this and that because he was a high spin guy and he still seems to be getting it done. Mentioned that about Corbin Burns earlier. Actually, you know what? I've got Gonsolin in the 5 range. Mm-hmm. I didn't. I guess it's the matchups.
I mean, the matchups are so juicy.
Yeah, right? I will. Yes, I will agree with you. The matchups are so at Miami versus Arizona. I'm not all right. Listen, I'm not comparing them to the Yankees lineup when you eyeball it, but I eyeball that Arizona lineup and I say it should be better, but it's not. It's just not.
And they may be down Eduardo Escobar pretty soon, right?
Yeah, but they're getting Cole Calhoun back.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe he'll get moved too.
Ketel Marte is hurt again, but yeah, I think it should be better. It was interesting that they moved the Castro. Not that he's not a building block, but I suppose when you got Rojas, they can easily make up for the playing time. But it was kind of all the players to deal. I didn't think he'd be the one, but anyway.
Now, Trevor Rogers of the Miami Marlins, he's going to be opposite Buehler, who we just talked about in that first start, but he's worked his way into that pretty much every week 5 territory.
Whether he gets a 4 or 5, I think it's irrelevant. Yeah, I have him very low 5.
Low 5, okay.
Yeah, so ranked 16th, so that's a low 5.
What about Jordan Holloway? Any reason to think about him? The whip is dangerously high. Okay, yeah, I'll give him a 0. And I'll mark that down. Again, we'll have these publicly available. I will throw them into your sheet here after the show and do that moving forward. Jordan Holloway, 0. Okay, so next up, 2-star pitchers for the week of July 5th. Brandon Woodruff, he's got to be a 5. I mean, I got to take the L on him. I thought James was a little too high having him in the early second round, and I was dead wrong. He's been fantastic.
Well, James is wrong too. He's a first rounder. I have number 2 next to DeGrom overall this week. Buehler being 3rd.
Yeah, I definitely see it. What about for Minneapolis though? Bailey Ober. I guess it's not Minneapolis, Minnesota, but
you visit once and now it's Minneapolis.
Oh yeah. No, I was actually in Apple Valley, which is very nice. Close. But Bailey Ober, Jose Barrios. I think Barrios. I mean, versus Detroit versus the White Sox, Barrios probably a 4. Bailey Ober, I'm going to probably have to give a 0 though.
I'm still a 5 with Barrios. Is 0 for Ober.
Okay, you're still 5 on Barrios. Huh? Okay, I'm going to go 4, but I gotta.
He's still very, very, very good. And he's consistently very, very, very good. Are we getting that?
Even if he's
level?
Not, yeah, I don't think we're getting. That level.
If his ERA is a 3.7, that's not it's below. It's better than average. He gives you the innings, and you can rely on it. It's not going to do one of those 8 innings, 12 strikeout, 1 run efforts probably, but I think there's something to be said for the consistency. For a while, it looked like we were going to get that next level. Then it came back again. So maybe one of these years we will, and then he'll go for way more than he should the next year in a draft, and he'll fall back again. But yeah, he's a 5. I mean, the White Sox, I don't love the matchup, but Detroit, yeah, I mean, I'll go 5.
Nice. Then Jacob deGrom, obvious 5. He kind of sets the bar every week. But Corey Oswald, I have to give a 0. I know he got a win in his debut, but not going 5+, and no real reason for me to consider him.
Yeah, did you see I think it was DraftKings put out a tweet. You face DeGrom for 100 pitchers. The over is 0.5. How many how many do you make contact with? And,
how many do you make contact with? And anybody who said more than 0 is just lying. So.
Oh gosh, yeah. I think I said what if in the process of running away because I'm afraid to get hit, I let go of the bat and the ball happens to hit the bat. Does that count? I mean, yeah. So yeah, but I played high school. I played college ball. I could, oh, good Lord, folks, forget it.
I love Stroman's response to that. Like, y'all are just a bunch of clowns.
Yeah,
which is true because I mean, go to a batting cage, take some hacks, and then imagine what it'd be like to hit 95 to 100. Like,
I get news for you. You could put Jenny Finch in there, and these guys wouldn't get a hit. If she remember that when the tour she did when she was striking out major league hitters. Right. Oh, that was wild. Anyway.
It's just insane that people actually think they can.
It was funny. Things. I mean, you know what? Based on, yes, it's insane, but it was kind of an entertaining read just to get away from some of the other Twitter information the past couple of days. But yeah, Corey Oswald is a 0 for me.
Yeah, just know that I judge you if you think you can actually hit against a big pitcher. I smirk from my couch at home. Jameson Tyone, what do you think of him at Seattle, at Houston? I haven't been a Tyone guy, but for some reason he was dropped. I may look at picking him up. I doubt he's really been dropped many places, but I'll give him a 3.
Yep, 3.
Yeah, he's not very exciting, but not bad either. Chris Bassett has been pretty awesome all year. At Houston, at Texas. I love that second one. 9 wins already for Chris Bassett. And I guess he's earned that 5 range, I think now.
Yep. I got him 6th overall, 1 step above Barrios. So yeah, he's easily a 5.
And of course, I just want to mention again those rankings Todd are referring to, his weekly pitcher rankings. Check those out at the site, rotowire.com/try for a free 10-day trial. Back to the 2-star pitchers. We're getting near the end of the list here. Aaron Nola, Matt Moore. Nola's been pretty disappointing, but I think at Cubs, at Boston, I think I'm still going to keep him in the 5 range, but pretty iffy, and Moore's a 0 for me.
Yeah, well, I get Nola at 20, so he's the last ranked number 5. Just as you go, and then he came through with like a 10 strikeout game. Didn't he strike out his first 9 batters? So that it's just the consistency. He's a lot like Barrios in that he's just very, 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 very good and doesn't take that next elite step. I think he's a little better than Barrios, just kind of similar. But at Boston, at Chicago, well, reversing. You don't love the matchups on the road, but yeah, he's going to be a low-end 5 for me. And you mentioned Moore? No, less.
Looks like Nola's fastball velocity holding steady. I don't really know what's wrong with him. I guess the swing strike rate's down a little bit.
Yeah, it's usually command and control, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a location sort of guy, and when it's off by a little bit, he can get hit.
I know people early on were taking some laps like, oh, imagine if you'd taken Luis Castillo over Aaron Nola. But now I'm thinking, rest away, it might be kind of close for me. Yeah. Nola versus Castillo. I could see it being.
As it should be, it should be. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
Nola's been better than that 4.44 ERA, but still, like you said, inconsistent and just not quite himself. Chase DeYoung, Don't know much about him, but I don't see any reason to consider him here. I guess he's been in the majors here or there.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Parts of 5 seasons.
Yeah,
but it's just not somebody I've ever really looked at for fantasy.
Yeah, nothing to see. Yeah, I mean, but real quick, you mentioned Nola's 4.44. His estimators are about a run lower.
Yeah, so he should be quite a bit better.
Yeah, it's a 331 BABIP and a slightly high home run rate. But anyway, DeJong, nothing to see here.
So Joe Musgrove probably a 5, right? I mean, he's got a losing record, but he's been overall very good. What about Ryan Weathers? Very good as well, but do you think he's stretched out enough to be a quality start in fantasy this week?
Can't guarantee it. So it's gonna hurt the ranking, or it does hurt the ranking. Where did I actually have him? Because by the second start, he could. He could sneak in. It's versus Colorado. You like that? I've got him in the 2 range.
Okay.
So I think that's fair.
I'm down as a 3, but I got you as a 2. I like what I've seen from the kid, but I think he went 4 in his return. So he was down in the minors for a little bit, came back July 1st. Yeah,
that Washington start, if I may have him projected for 4 innings, which crushes the win potential. If I bring it to 5, I need to do a little bit of research. If I bring it to 5, he probably moves up to the 3 range.
I'm actually going to lower to a 2 as well, just because he had 4 walks in those 4 innings, and he needs to be more efficient.
Yeah.
Coming back.
I do
prevention. He's been great.
I do have him for 4 innings, so I will do the research. But if I leave it at 4 innings, he stays in the 2 range.
Very nice. Well, as we continue on here, 2-star pitchers for next week. Justice Sheffield, we're going to have a little bit of a revenge game against the Yankees then versus the Angels. I feel like Sheffield just has not been even close to what I was hoping for. Not that I had like high hopes, but I thought he'd be decent. He really, he hasn't gone 5. He's gone 5 only once in his last 4 starts. He's got a 7 spot in there. It's just hard to trust this guy. So I'm going to go 1 just because of maybe draft and hold NL only or AL only, but hard to even justify 1, quite frankly.
Well, I have it 99 or 98, which is exactly, almost 0, but one of the last remaining ones. Yeah, he, for years, talent coordinators, et cetera, scouts figured he could always convert to relief, but Seattle stubbornly wants him to be a starter. Was that 7 against Colorado? Because that's what I'm remembering was, my old use every lefty on the road against Colorado is always a good bet. He didn't even get by Colorado. Colorado got to him. So if the Rockies hit a lefty, in I was going to say Safeco in T-Mobile Park, it's not a good year. But yeah,
the Rockies got to him for 3 over 4 1/3 at home.
Okay, so that was
Twins got to him for 7.
Right. So even though when I expect him to do well, we're spending far too long on someone who's barely a 1.
Kevin Gossman's a 5, and that's just he's probably headed for like a $100 million+ payday after being non-tendered after the 2019 season. So good on San Fran and good on him. Turn his career back around.
4th overall for me this week. Yep.
Nice. What about Kwang Hyun Kim at San Francisco at the Cubs? I may give him a 2. He's been pretty good, but the lack of Ks just hold him back.
I'm going to go with a 3, and it is early on. It looked like he was going to turn it on with the Ks, and then they fell back. Mm-hmm. But I think he had one of there've been a lot of afternoon games this week. I think he had one of the afternoon games where it may have been one of the only games on. I was impressed, and I know one outing, blah 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 blah. But he got the job done. So I'm going to go with a 3, and I'm back on the maybe he picks up the strikeouts.
If he does that, that'd be a game changer. Yeah, in the meantime,
I'm looking at who he faced, and actually he got a double. He hit a double in that game. It was kind of help put himself out. I forget. I'll check who it was against. Arizona struck out 5 in 5 innings. Did kind of gave it up at the end, walk 3. But I did like what I saw that game.
I have Michael Wacha of the Rays as a 0 myself, but I do just want to mention, it looks like we have Luis Patino in there for Wednesday against Cleveland at home. And so that makes sense why James went ahead and picked him up. I think that's tentative, and I don't know if the Rays have confirmed. Oh, he's actually starting tonight, Patino. I missed it.
So I'm going to see how many innings he goes tonight. And right now, I'm going to go 2. Well, right now I'm going to go
Patino's 1. Patino's not a 2-start starter. I just
okay, never mind. Okay.
Wacha was the 2-start guy. Sorry, 0 for Wacha.
Oh man, I wanna say non-zero because he does have the talent to be able to surprise, but he's at 105, which makes him a 0, but really close to a 1. So I'll give him a 1 just because.
All right, yeah, I could actually see that. I'll just stick to 0.
I don't like those. I think you're probably better in your analysis sticking to 0, but anyway.
Well, we'll see. Colby Allard, kind of interesting, versus Detroit versus Oakland. You looking to add Colby Allard this week?
Yeah, is this a trap, right? Where you look at the matchup,
feels like maybe
you get interested. No, I have him in the 2 range, so I guess he is an ad. I
think that's definitely fair. Steven Matz, if he was dropped at Baltimore, at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, a good pitching park. Baltimore, not a very good offense, but a good hitter's park. I might go 1 on Matz.
Yep, 1.
I think that's about all I can do.
Yeah.
And then finally, we got John Lester and Patrick Corbin. Lester I picked up in an NL only and started him.
Oh, sorry.
Timing on that was horrible. Because he gave up 5 against Tampa Bay. And then I don't think I started him. Actually, I do think I started him at Miami. So it's been a brutal run for him lately. Ugh, my goodness. John Lester, I guess he's probably worked his way down to a 0, honestly.
Yep.
Because San Francisco is not a walkover anymore.
Yeah, good pitching parks, but offenses that can do damage.
Corbin, you good given? I think I'll give Corbin like a 2.
Oh, gosh. He's my pitch equivalent of Starlin Castro. I'm sorry, of Gleyber Torres.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I have him in the 3 range, but that just feels high.
I have him a 2, but you think in 3?
That's where he's ranked exactly in the middle, but that just feels high. I'm going to go 2. I probably have him for too many innings. All
right. Well, before we recap these, I just want to say that somebody in the chat mentioned that Cole Calhoun had a setback. So you said earlier that
no.
Yeah. So Cole Calhoun.
There goes my Friday.
This is just a note that was up on the site. 4:05 a.m. That's Pacific times, but our beat writer John Clemeno, he's just grinding. He's fantastic with what he does. He was up early scouring for news, and yeah, Cole Calhoun had a setback, pulled off his rehab assignment. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you to Star Platinum for mentioning that in the chat.
On the other hand, I have Reddick in a couple of teams, so if it keeps Reddick, well, I don't know if I want to keep Reddick in my lineup. Anyway.
Yeah, maybe not. By the way, Corbin, did you have 2 or a 3 for Corbin, or what did you have for Corbin? I forgot.
I'm going to 2. I have him at a 3, but I'm going to give him a 2.
Okay, that's what I had too. All right, so we will recap the 2-star pitcher grades for the week of July 5th. 2021, the week before the All-Star break. Riley Smith, 0. Max Fried, 5. Matt Harvey, 0. Martin Perez, I say 2. Todd, 1. Zach Davies, I say 3. Todd, 2. Jake Arrieta, 0. Vladimir Gutierrez, I say 1. Todd, 0. Luis Castillo, 4. Cal Quantrill, I say 1. Todd, 0. Logan Allen, 0. John Gray, 3. Dylan Cease, 3. Jose Urena, 0. Willie Peralta, 0. Luis Garcia of Houston, 4. Mike Minor, 3. Chris Bubich, 0. Walker Buehler, 5. Tony Gonsolin, 5. Trevor Rogers, 5. Jordan Holloway, 0. Brandon Woodruff, 5. Bailey Ober, 0. Jose Barrios, I say 4. Todd, 5. Jacob deGrom, 5. Corey Oswalt, 0. Jameson Tyone, 3. Chris Bassett, 5. Aaron Nola, 5. Matt Moore, 0. Chase DeYoung, 0. Joe Musgrove, 5. Ryan Weathers, 2. Justice Sheffield, 1. Kevin Gossman, 5. Kwang Hyun Kim, I say 2. Todd, 3, with some hope of increased Ks. Michael Waka, I say 0. Todd, 1. Colby Allard, 2. Stephen Matz, 1. John Lester, 0. Patrick Corbin, 2. Todd, I look forward to talking with you tomorrow on MLB Network Radio. The show tomorrow, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Hope you can join us or check it out on the SXM app on demand. But anything else you want to mention today, Todd, before we sign off?
Did you get the email yesterday?
Which one?
From Baseball HQ?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
First Pitch Forum, folks.
First Pitch is back.
It's back. Early sign up, save some money. We don't get anything for it. We're just our friends, but it's with the 14th to the 17th, something like that in October. We
still don't know about the fall league, though, do we? I mean,
right? It sounds like it'll be on. We'll find out. The hotel's in Mesa this year, a stone's throw from Sloan Park. So if you haven't gone, go. Mm-hmm. If you have gone, you're probably already blowing us off to sign up. So it's all good.
Yeah, First Pitch is a blast. And if you haven't been before, you have to check it out. And hopefully we have fall league games. I know the fall league was canceled last year and still kind of up in the air, but hopefully we can see some of the top prospects in action, because that's always a fun little sidebar there, seeing youngsters play. But just the camaraderie and the presentations at First Pitch, definitely worth it, even if we don't get to see as many prospects this time around.
Yep. Anyway.
But thank you, Todd. Appreciate everything. Thank you all for listening, and we will be back next week. We won't be having any two-start starters group to grade, but we'll be back Friday on the Rotowire Fantasy Baseball Podcast, sponsored by WinBet.
Try Rotowire today, free for 10 days. Get our premium tools, rankings, analysis, and breaking news alerts. No credit card required. Go to rotowire.com/try.